Hello and welcome. Let's chat for a bit about The Dark Forest by Cixin Liu. Sometimes you'll also see the author's name as Liu Cixin. My understanding is that's because in Chinese culture, the family name is first and then the given name. In this English language edition, they do have the given name first, followed by the family name. But I have seen it both ways on different things. This is the third book by Cixin Liu that I have read. I read The Wandering Earth last year and absolutely loved it. And then earlier this year, I read The Three-Body Problem, which is the first of a trilogy called the Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy. This is the second novel in that trilogy. So yeah, following this chat, I'll also touch base briefly on what I'm currently reading as well as what my planned next read is going to be. But back to The Dark Forest. So this work was originally published in China in 2008. This English language translation was done by Joel Martinsen, I think, and it came out in 2015. So like I said, this is the second in a trilogy. So, I really wanted to finish out this trilogy this year. I read the first one, The Three-Body Problem, earlier this year. It was a Hugo Award winner back from a few years ago, 2015, I think. And then, I wanted I really had hoped to read The Dark Forest, followed by the third one in the trilogy, Death's End, by the end of November. But due to just other things in life intervening, I wasn't able to get through this one. I just finished yesterday, so really recently, it actually ran a little bit over on my planned reading time and into my month of rereads, which I'm doing in December, which I'll talk about more here in a bit. But yeah, I was glad to get at least the second one read. I do plan on reading the third one coming up fairly soon, I hope. But what this is about, since this is a second work in a trilogy, I don't want to give any spoilers away. So when I'm describing what the book's about, I'm really going to stick to what's on the published sort of blurb for the novel. So what we have is an alien invasion coming to Earth in 4 centuries' time. The people of Earth have learned that there's this alien force coming from Trisolaris, which is the alien culture from the first book. Trisolaris, 3-sun world, which I love that, Trisolaris. Anyway, there's this alien invasion coming in for 400 years' time. It'll take them 400 years to get to Earth, but this, of course, sets Earth off into a frenzy. There is the Trisolarians have a technology called sophons. Sophons are subatomic particles that are everywhere that can transmit information back to Trisolaris somehow, and so everything is known, really, the technological development of Earth as well as individual plans and conversations and things like this is constantly being watched and reported back to Trisolaris. So you can imagine this is really a daunting challenge, because if there is advancements, for example, the Trisolarians will know where they are, what the plans are, what the defense plans are for them, because they're set out to really considered hostile to the Earthlings. So the issue, though, the Trisolarians do not have the ability to lie or deceit. They really just state what they're thinking at all times. Humans aren't this way, though, right? So we have the ability to be deceitful and to sort of mask our intentions through various sort of ways. And so what the United Nations decides to do is they decide to set up this project called the Wall Facers. And the Wall Facers are 4 different men who are from around the world who are given this unlimited power to come up with, devise sort of secret strategies and secret plans. But the way to do that is to completely throw everybody off track. So the people on Earth don't know what they're doing, and the sophons can't determine what they're doing, because it doesn't really necessarily make sense, because they can, be deceitful. So the story mainly revolves around a particular one of the wall facers called Luo Ji, and he is a Chinese astronomer and sociologist who works in this area of cosmic sociology. And this is sort of where we are with this novel as the wall facer projects gets underway. Undergoes many challenges. A lot of time ends up passing because people at this point in time on Earth have the ability to, go into hibernation. And so we do see quite a lot of time pass through the course of this novel, which was actually one of the interesting things about the novel. We started out in one time period and then we wound up pretty far into the future, and we kind of went into a hibernation, almost like one of the characters, along with one of the main characters, and then woke up when this main character woke up, to basically a different world. So it was really interesting. The thing though was all hell broke loose in a couple of different instances with this novel. So my experience reading it, especially probably the last fourth, was just a page turning. Sort of adventure. There's a military aspect to this novel. There is, space opera-ish. I would say some philosophy and some sociology. Sort of, I also found this to be true for the three-body problem, as well as the Wandering Earth, which is really sort of this, I think, this fresh way of maybe storytelling that Cixin Liu does, that really sort of incorporates things like sociology. What would people do? How do people react under stress and especially under despair in some cases? This novel takes humanity from despair to sort of hope to confidence, back down to despair, back and forth. So it really was a really sort of a fun ride to go on with the people of Earth as they face this challenge. And I don't want to give too much else away about it because I really, this book is the middle book, so it's the book that follows the first one, three-body problem, and I don't want to, by giving away too much in this novel, I think I would be maybe giving away spoilers for the three-body problem, and I don't want to ruin that experience if anyone wanted to start out at the beginning of this trilogy, and read through it. So I think I will maybe end the chat with that. I did love it, because I really like books that explore this idea of what people would do, what societies would do under certain stresses or under given new information. What are the challenges of technology? Because the humans in this novel really face that limits to technology, limits in areas that they can research, and also how people decide what the priority should be. And there's a lot of issues with that in this novel, deciding what strategy to really employ, because 400 years might seem like a long time, but they struggle with things like defeatism and escapism, and they really try to address different emotional. I think that's kind of maybe the interesting thing. A lot of times I think science fiction gets wrapped up into technology and science and things like this, and this book really does that too, but it doesn't leave out sort of the emotional, sociological aspect, like how we all relate to each other, how different groups, different nation states, not so much nationalism really, but really belief systems, revolving around how different belief systems react to the different challenges that they face in the novel. So I think I'll stop the chat with that. It's a relatively short chat for me, but like I said, it's a continuation of a trilogy and I don't want to give away any spoilers. I will get to Death's End. I had hoped, like I mentioned, to get to that in November. I'm going to put off reading that until the new year. I do want to devote the rest of December to my month of rereading. December is a month that I set aside every year to do rereading, and really that's the only time that I get to really just focus on sort of revisiting works that I've experienced previously, and so I really want to stick to that and not lose any more time. I lost the first few days of December finishing up this novel, The Dark Forest, and so I'm going to finish out December with rereading, and then what I'll probably do for my starting out in the new year when I'm doing my off my must-read list, I will probably put Des End as one of my wild card reads, and just go ahead and get that read fairly soon in 2018. So what I'm currently reading now. Oh, one other thing about The Dark Forest. The interesting thing, one of the most interesting things I think was the meaning of the title, The Dark Forest, and I certainly can't give that away. It would definitely be a spoiler, but it's really cool what the Dark Forest actually ultimately ends up standing for. So, okay, I'll leave the chat with the Dark Forest at that. What I'm currently reading is Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency by Douglas Adams. I read this probably 2 decades ago, so it's been a really, really long time. I have been enjoying the BBC America that I see on BBC America, the Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency TV show. I've really just kind of delved into this, and so far it's nothing at all like the TV show. I am liking the TV show, though. It just almost finished up with its, I guess, second season. But yeah, I really wanted to read this again just to sort of revisit Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency by Douglas Adams, because I really did like it the first time around, although I don't remember a lot about it. It was so long ago when I read it. And then what my planned next read is going to be, let me just pull that up for you. If I can get to the cover fairly quickly. Let's see here. I'm going to reread Star Maker by Olaf Stapledon. Star Maker is a book from 1937. Olaf Stapledon was a British science fiction writer. This is considered classic sci-fi. It influenced quite a few writers like C.S. Lewis and Arthur C. Clarke. I read this, according to Goodreads, I read this in June. Last read this in June of 2013. So it's been a few years. I did love it. I gave it 5 stars at the time. It's deeply philosophical science fiction. There's not really a plot. There's not really a lot of action. There's not even really a lot of science. There's a lot of it's a mental journey that one of the characters goes on through culture, through different planets and alien civilizations, and I think even dimensions, if I remember right. So. A lot of good stuff there. I really enjoyed it the last time around, and I really wanted to revisit it. So yeah, Star Maker by Olaf Stapledon. That will be coming up for my next reread for the month of December. I also have an opera chat to do, which I should be uploading in the next day or so. So stay tuned for that. Until next time, take care. Bye.